Okay, guys, we got a cool show. Cuddy, introduce your show. So what we are right now, guys, welcome to Cuddy Customs. What we do here, we're live from Simcoe County Customs in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. What we do here is we build hot rods, custom cars, classic cars. We show you guys the procedure it takes from start to finish, how to build these cars from ground up. So sit back, enjoy the show, guys. The date box is open. If you have any questions, feel free. I've got you guys set to 2 minutes. Ask any questions you want. All right, so let's.
I'm just hopping in because circulating the date box is good for getting people in.
I appreciate that. How was the get together?
Well, I'm still here, and I'm kind of
Nice.
stressing about it. No, not nice. Like, I've been trying to leave since Friday, and I keep letting people convince me to stay. And now it's it's getting worse and worse, and they're gonna want me to pay for my parts and the extra days of this house, and I'm just like, damn, it's gonna be all right, whatever. But what's the title of your show?
It's Cuddy Customs.
Cuddy Customs. Okay, I'm gonna send a blast on it.
We at work.
Yeah.
What we doing today? I'm gonna show you, Hangman. Just give me 1 second. So let me get you guys up to speed of what we've been up to for the last week. So last week, you guys seen this Camaro. This Camaro, we were lining up the subframe, getting the wheelbase so we could hang the panels. As you can see, it's had a hell of a transformation in a week. So what we did, we got all the panels lined up, got the doors hung on the car. I stripped the whole top of this car. I stripped this car, all of its paint, roof, hood, fenders, all these pictures, guys, they're all on Simcoe County Customs Instagram page. And then what you're seeing here is this is actually an epoxy primer, guys. So anytime you strip a car down to bare steel, you need to seal it. So there's two ways. You could do an etch primer, which is a 2-part process, or you can run an epoxy over the whole car. So what we did was we ran an epoxy primer over the whole damn car, front to back. So now what we're going to do, this one we're going to be starting tomorrow. We're going to be sanding that and then starting to do a little bit of body work. Any dents you see, the car is pretty damn straight, so there's no real imperfections. But like little things that we catch, we'll end up doing body work. Like in here, little things. We got little problems. So as you see here, nothing big. But this is an aftermarket. What year? This is a 1981 Camaro Z28. So this was done. This was body and paint was done 5 years ago. The unfortunate thing was this car was left under a tree on a car trailer for 5 years. What up, man? So as you can see, like the gaps are pretty damn close. They just tighten up at the top. Here, exactly the same thing. If you look at the top here, this is again what I was telling you guys about aftermarket panels. So see how, look at this radius, guys. Check this radius out. So if you look at here, aftermarket hood, aftermarket fender. The radius doesn't line up. It almost looks like the hood's too far forward. But if you go down here, the hood's spot on. So that just goes to show you guys, the pressings are never always correct. You go to the opposite side where you have an OEM fender. What do you guys see? Everything lines up. Go to the front. Appreciate that, guys. Boom. Spot on. So these are the little things now we got to dial in. And anytime you're working with an aftermarket panel, expect this stuff. Like this showed you guys on the pickup truck. How you doing, sir?
Those some good looking lines, bud.
Yeah, not bad, eh? We still got to dial them in, but we're definitely getting there.
Now, are those aftermarket quarters and everything?
No.
The factory.
No, so this car is actually an original sheet metal car.
Wow.
Yeah, so the story behind this car,
heavy.
the story for this car, from what I understand, is there's 2 owners to this car. This car was only on the road for 3 years. It was stolen from a guy's neighbor and sat in his backyard under hay for 25 years until he got busted for drugs. They found the car,
Wow.
and basically, like, everything you're seeing is all original sheet metal. There's no plastic in this. This is basically just 3 coats of epoxy over top of the original sheet metal.
You gotta
So
love
this
old
is
cars though, because of that reason right there.
100%, 100%. And the metal's metal, guys. Like, look at it. Like, this is 18 gauge steel. Like, you're not gonna dent this shit. You can work it. And the fact that this is a Canadian car and it's not rotted, like the car's never had floor pans put into it.
Oh wow.
All original floors. Like, the car is rock solid, guys. There's no rot in this car anywhere. So the customer got really lucky with this car. Take a wild guess what he paid for this car.
I'd say, you know, probably like 4K, 5K.
Nope. He paid $800 for this car probably about 7 years ago.
Steel.
You know what the moral of that story is, kids? Don't do drugs unless it's weed.
Right? Facts, Jay.
Just saying. Hey, really quick, I need to get with you after the show so that we can do the intro and talk about the intro and stuff.
Absolutely, buddy.
All right, you can next me. I just wanted to say that. But I thought I was next in line, but I wasn't. I got beat.
No worries, buddy. I got you. So basically, yeah, that's it, guys. Like, for the most part, this project's come a long way. Good morning, Sassy. So this project's come a long way. We got gaps. We didn't have these before. So like I was telling you guys last time, as long as you take your measurements from hub center to hub center and get your wheelbase correct to what the specs are, everything should line into place. With the aftermarket panels, like you said, look what I got to do. I've got to make the shit fit. Like, look at that. That's almost touching. So I've got to cut, bring it back. So let me show you guys another project that I started talking about earlier last week, but we'll show you. Again, another aftermarket panels not fitting OEM, you know. You guys remember this project here? The 98 C10. So last time you guys seen this, once the body work is done, what is the color code for that car? So this color code is the burnt orange. So it's going to be burnt orange with the Z28 stripes. Pretty rare color option for this car. So this project here, guys, this is another example of what has to be done to fit aftermarket panels. Remember last time I showed you guys, we had no door gaps. You guys recall that? I showed you the lines. Now, if you look at that line, it's crisp. Would you agree? Clean, right? Do you guys want to see what the hell you have to do that? Let me show you. So, I've literally split the door all the way down the seam. All the way down this door has been ground and split. All the way down. I literally had to re-weld. There you can see a bit of the weld. There's not a lot left. I try to be pretty damn good with my welding. But same thing, all the way up the door was split. I took probably a 1/16 of an inch out of that. Like, I took significant, like I took probably that much off the door skin. And then I re-welded the whole damn door. Just so when I close it, come back and I've got a clean line. That's what I want. I want to see this, guys. I want to see this. You know, this is the first thing that people look at when you're doing high-end work. Your fitment of panels and your gaps are absolutely essential, guys. This is the first thing anybody's going to see. So literally, you wouldn't think so. They'd be like, well, this is a brand new door. Why did you have to do this? Well, this is an aftermarket door. So the cost on this door was $600, almost $700. An OEM door, if you can find an OEM door, would be over $1,500. Now, if you have to do that times 2, you do the math. There's $3,000 just for 2 doors. So, you know, the unfortunate thing was the original doors were not savable. So I'll show you why. I don't have the original doors here, but I'll show you what happens with these trucks. So on these trucks, there's a rubber, guys, that sits at the bottom of this channel. This door does not have the provisions for it, but there's a rubber that sits right across here, and the water physically cannot get out of the bottom of the door. Appreciate that, guys. So the water will come in. There's a belt molding here. The water will come in, roll down the window, roll down the door, and then get stuck in here. And it will actually rot out the whole bottom of this door. So when we looked at the option of doors or replacements, like repairing or replacing, we couldn't fix them in enough time for what it took me to cut this and weld this up. So this was on both doors, guys. We had shitty gaps from side to side. So that's the passenger side. Let me show you around the other side, guys. This is the time it takes. It didn't take a lot of time, but for what it took us to simply cut that, shave it down and re-weld it, we would have been, what, a couple of days repairing the other door. So here's this side, guys, and understand, like, what you're looking at right now is body filler. All cars, show cars, anything, they're going to have a percentage of body filler. You don't have a lot. So if you see this discoloration here, guys, this is all metal burned through. So this indicates that the product is not as thick as you think. It's just to level the surface, guys. That's it. So again, same thing. I'll show you. I'll open this door up, and it was still faster. There you go. There's an example. There's some of the welds, guys. And literally, I had to do the same thing. I had to take the whole edge of this door off, grind it down, and re-weld the whole thing, just so we could have a clean, crisp gap. And then I'll bodywork the 2 panels together, because remember what I was telling you guys? The aftermarket does not have the licensing to produce exact replicas. If they did exact production replicas, they could be sued. So there has to be variances in the aftermarket doors, fitment, shit like that. So if you see little things, let me show you. There's going to be little things like, look, these things, they don't line up. The doors will be too far in. The dimensions will be off. So in order to make them fit, you've got to make them fit, or the other option, like I said, is spend $3,000 for 2 doors. And so we've got this cab now in epoxy. That's very common in our industry. What's that, Miles? What's that? Exactly, Hangman, because the doors are patent. Exactly, and nobody holds the license to that except for General Motors. So what we do here at Simcoe County Customs, guys, is we'll work with any customer. We'll work with what their needs and requirements are, but we will not compromise our quality of work. Mostly every single car gets the same process: stripped down, put into epoxy, and bodywork over the epoxy. The only reason, the big reason we do this is the product says it can go on bare metal. I don't trust it. I've seen too many times where moisture will get in behind the filler and it'll delaminate. So this is what we do. We strip everything. This cab was completely stripped. And my partner Josh did the exact same thing. 3 coats of epoxy over the whole thing. Let's seal it up. So you think here, oh, well, there's bare metal. Once this bodywork's done, what Josh will do is he'll take this truck, he'll put another coat of epoxy over the rub-throughs and the body filler work, and then he'll go to high build primer. He'll go to a urethane high build or a polyester spray filler to block out. But every piece of work and every piece of bare metal will be covered in epoxy, because epoxy is the only product that's waterproof. So this is the quality which you get, but a lot of shops aren't going to show you this shit. We do, because we want you guys to be informed on what you're paying for. What up, Sophie? Let me show you guys a cool little project my partner's been working on. vigorously. This car, guys, this is the 70 Monte Carlo. I don't know if Josh wants to be seen right now. This is the 70 Monte Carlo that he's been working on. So he's been cutting the quarters out of this car. Customer did not know just how rotted this car was. So he assumed it was quarter panels. These are the drop downs. Josh discovered the drop downs were rotted. As we cut this out, we found out that the back tail panel was rotted. Go inside here. Both inner arches are rotted. So this is the outer wheel arch. This is the inner. If you look on the IG page, you'll see that this was actually a fiberglass piece of metal right there. You can actually see the outline. Nothing was welded here. And I think that's actually fiberglass, isn't it? That's all fiberglass in right there. So just to show you guys, like this was all hidden under fiberglass and tar. So look at that, all rotted. Everything was just fucking rotted. So he's cut this side out. Let's go to the other side, guys. I'll kind of show you what Josh has been up to over here. So as you can see, he's pretty much finished up this side. So this is a full replacement quarter. And basically he's just gone a 16th in from the original quarter, keeping the original gap. This is an original door gap. He's gone up to the top body line here, and he's just grafted the quarter in. Now, all we have to do here is we got to repair the inner. The inner's all rotted. Put that back to the bus. So that's basically that. That's the sheet metal. So we'll be sheet metaling this, doing rough body work, and then just primering this and sending this one out. So you guys, there's been lots of progress. We still have a lot of work on this. We still have a full trunk pan to put in. We have these trunk supports here. Just take a look, guys. Like the trunk supports completely rotted. Everything, guys, is rotted on this car. So this is the kind of things you guys need to watch out for. When you're buying one of these cars, it pays to get an expert to come with you to look at it. Because like, look, this is where the frame's supposed to be, guys. Right? It's good. Let's show you guys just how punky this is. Like, let's go. So this is the chassis of the car. Check this out. So, boom. Front frame. Almost rotted. So, we got our, well, Josh has his hands cut out for him. So, this is all him. But yeah, that's what we've been up to for the last week, guys. So, we don't hide anything here. We're not here to hide anything. We're going to show you guys the steps and procedures it takes. Like, this is what it is, guys. This is an expensive hobby. We all know it, but you got to see the work you're getting done, guys. Don't just trust when you drop off a car at a shop that the guys are going to do this shit right. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to stop in. If you leave your car in the hands of a technician, you need to really trust that person, because at the end of the day, your hard-earned dollars are on the line and the craftsmanship behind the work. I'm not going to name any names, but I've worked for a lot of big shops, and I've seen a lot of backyard shit. I refuse to compromise my quality for anybody. This is why we're so transparent. We don't have anything to hide. Welcome, Dark Knight. So, guys, feel free. Ask questions. You know, if you've got a build on the go that you're struggling with and you're at a crossroads, feel free. Like, ask us. We're here for your help. We do the best we can to guide you through this stuff. So basically, guys, what I've been up to today, let me show you. Like I said, it's just body work in this thing. Just body work in this cab back together, guys. That's it. So realistically, like I'm trying to pull these two panels together. So I'll pull the door. Have you ever merged body styles? Oh, two different vehicles together? Absolutely. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you. So basically, I've been just what we do. So here's the best thing, guys. A lot of guys don't do this, but I do this. The best way to do your body work. So here's your door striker here, guys. This little fucking thing right here. Can anybody tell me what this does for you? Besides hold the door in place, can you tell me what the purpose of this is? That's very illegal. Merge two cars. I'm like, what do you like? No, not weld the two cars in half. I mean, like putting a modern day front end on an older car. Yeah, so that's the door lock. We don't mean that. I'm saying like what I mean by merging two cars, guys, is like taking an old school front end and grafting it onto a modern day pickup truck front end, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I get that. Sorry. So back to this. So what this is the door catch. Catches your latch here, right? This also determines the in and out position of your door and up and down. So if your doors are hitting and when you go to close your doors, if you have resistance, it's typically hitting this. So I can change how far out the door comes and where it catches up or down just by loosening that Torx bit right there. So what I tend to do, guys, is I want to bring the two panels, the outside of the box and the outside of the door, I want to bring them as physically close to possible as to each other before starting the body work. How are you, Gigs? So this is what I'll do is I'll loosen this, I'll pull it out, and I'll just tighten it, hand tight. Facts, right? And then what I'll do is I'll grab the door. So take in consideration, this is already tight and set, but this is just an example of what I do to get the two panels to line up. Very important, guys, when you're body working a car, very, very, very important. The door rubber needs to be in place. I'll show you why on the other side, but this is absolutely essential, because if you do the work without the rubber, it changes when you put the rubber in. This puts pressure on the door and can change. So put the door rubber in, get your catch, tighten it up, just finger tight enough so that it stays in place, but you can maneuver it with the door. So what I'll do, keep that just tightened. I'll grab the door, I'll shut it, and then what I'll do is I'll actually pull the door till the two panels are like that, flush as possible. Then I'll reopen the door, taking the stress off of it, and I'll tighten this down. That allows me to bring the two panels as physically close as possible. Obviously, I'm going to have to bodywork because it's original to aftermarket, and this truck was hit right here. So when you do that, boom, you have a level surface. Why it's important to have the rubbers in, guys. Let me show you. I don't know anything about rubbers. Fucking proofs in the pudding, right? Facts, right? Yeah, if I knew what fucking shit. Okay. Fucking even the fucking family's fucking razzing on me. Always important to use them rubbers. Facts. Facts. This is a lesson I should have learned 10 motherfucking years ago. We all have our downfalls. Pull out games weak, you can fuck off, Sass. Nonetheless. Fucking dicks. All right. Yeah. So we have a channel rubber up here. This goes around. This is half of the door rubber from this side. So without the door rubber in, guys, close the door. You see, the door's kicked in. Door's kicked in. You don't know where the two actually sit. I've brought in the door as close to physically possible as I can. But once you put that rubber in here, check this out. Once you grab, this is just a test, guys. So let's just put this rubber down here. Okay, I'll install this rubber. Give me 1 second, guys. Can you guys see okay? Let me show you. So you install this rubber. There's a little channel here. It just goes on this guide. Install the rubber just like this. You'll hear a difference in the door too when it shuts with the rubber on it. You hear that? Okay. So, why it's important, guys? Look what that just showed us. We have some final tuning to do. Let's spin this back around. Okay. We have some final tuning right there. But now it's brought the door completely flush to the cab. And now it kind of shows us what we need to do. So if you run your hand now, had you not put the door rubber in here, the opposite way, and then when you install new rubbers, lo and behold, the doors are kicked out from the car and they can't understand why. Well, that's why you body work the car together. You body work it together with the rubbers, all the panels on the car. Do not body work the car torn apart. It will not work for you. There's too much at risk. Same with this car. So this car here, we haven't started body working, but if you look at it, same thing, guys. The routine should never change. The process should never change. Let me show you. These are brand new door rubbers. This is the best way to do it with brand new rubbers. If somebody's doing a restoration, same thing. These rubbers run all the way across the bottom. The reason I want to do that, take a listen. Okay. Kicks the door exactly where it needs to be. So, always important, guys. Like I said, always panel up. Same thing with the trunk rubber. Very important, too. Yeah, watch out for that, eh? That thing will knock you out, guys. Like, if you're ever working on one of these cars and you take the spoiler off, guys, always never put your head in front of this. Watch the velocity this thing comes out at. Take that in the mouth. Always install your trunk rubber. The reason being is this trunk rubber presses up against here. Okay? This is very important for sealing, for water getting into your car. So how else are you going to know? If we take this rubber out here, the trunk's now going to sit wherever it wants. So close your trunk lid with the rubber. And there you go. Do your adjustments. This is damn near flush to the quarter. Here, we have some work to do. So as you can see, this side of the deck lid is not level to the quarter. Sanding? Not yet. Telling you guys how to panel up the car first. But I've been sanding today. So if you have any questions, guys, like I said, jump in the box. Feel free to ask. You know, that's what I'm here for. With this one here, guys, this is an interesting job, this one. So I've still got to fit the front end on the Camaro. This car will get torn apart. This Camaro will probably get torn apart 2 to 3 times. It'll get torn apart, stripped. That's a machine. This is a beast, buddy. This thing's going to be around 480 horse. So it's going to be a pretty nasty street machine. So hence why it takes time. And everybody's like, well, why do you tear the car back down? Put it together, tear it back down. Let me explain that to you. We'll strip the parts. We want to get all the edges. We want to get all the old product off it. We'll tear the car apart, bag and tag all the parts, locations where they go. We'll strip them, put them in the booth. Joshua will epoxy them, epoxy the hood, epoxy the doors. Then panel it up from front to back. So the best way to panel up a car, guys, always work your way from the rear forward. Don't listen to him. He's full of shit. Facts. And then we'll panel up the car, get our lines perfect, and we'll start body working it. Once the car is body worked together, it can go for its high build primer. We'll block the car, get the car as straight as we can, and then just before we'll paint the outside, we'll take the panels back off. The reason we do this is we want to paint the jams all inside here, you know, all inside here. This is what's called jamming the car. This is just a little inside of just the process. So we'll paint all this. This is easier to access with the doors off. We'll paint the rockers. We'll paint the A-posts. We'll paint the inside of the doors. Then we'll put the car back together and paint the car as one. You guys shit talking? Yep. Of course you are, motherfuckers. What's that? Welcome to Simcoe County Customs. That's it. And don't be afraid, guys. Like I said, send us a question. What are you saying over there? What? You saying what?
She said that you were misleading people when you said that why we take cars apart and put them back together.
We're misleading people. Oh my God. These guys are fucking jokesters today. Don't pull too hard, man. You might rip the fucking car apart. Fuck. See, this car is not a complete. So what we're actually doing on this is we're doing this in stages. We're working with the customer's budget. Customer has a set budget in mind. So we're doing what we can on his budget. Then he's going to take the car, take it back home, build back up, and then come back. And he already has, what does he have for this car already? Brand new frame, brand new suspension.
Yeah, the whole frame's done.
The whole frame is already done, ready to go.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, we're just fixing the sheet metal, fixing the rod on the sheet metal. Do we need to do floors on this one or no floors?
I don't know yet. I'm going to talk to him about it today.
Yeah? So the doors, actually, my partner found out the doors actually for these cars are damn near impossible to find in good shape. So a door in this shape, believe it or not, in this shape with the holes that it's got here, the patches that it's got here, what would you say are probably 250 bucks?
400.
$400 for a door in that shape. You just can't find them. So this is how your build can get up there and cost very fast. These are the things to take into consideration. Window glass. If you break the window glass in one of these cars, the rear window glass, try to find one if you can find it, especially with COVID. So what my partner found out is he went to do the homework on what he can find for this car. No stock. Nothing available. One drop down. So thank God the customer had the panels already. He had already had the quarters, guys. These are the new quarters here. So that's a new quarter panel. He had already gotten the quarters with the car. He got the new trunk floor, and that was all included. So just to give you guys a little update of what we've been up to over here. So if you have any questions on what we're doing, feel free, guys. Like I said, don't be afraid to ask. We're pretty transparent here. But I'm going to get back to work and kind of show you what I'm doing here. So see that little discoloration spot right there? It's a high spot right there. What's your favorite build you are currently working on? I would have to say, honestly, the most interesting build is probably this truck. The truck is an interesting build because the money he's putting into it doesn't really justify, like he can't justify the money, but he loves the truck to the point where he wants to make it what he wants to make it. So this truck was originally a V6, standard transmission. He's changing it to an LS1 fuel injected with the standard transmission. So this truck's gonna get up and fucking boogie, and it's just a clean chassis to work with. I've always been a short box Chevy fan. I love short box pickup trucks. I love that whole muscle truck look. I'm more of an 80s fan, but I like this build particularly just because of the stuff we're able to do to it. It's gonna have lowering suspension. It's gonna have an LS. This truck's gonna put out some serious fucking power, and it's just gonna be a fun little toy. And the customer's our age too. So this is, what up, Danny? So this customer is literally in his 30s. So he's the same age as me and Josh. Enjoys having fun, and this is what car building's about: having fun. We know it costs money. This is not a cheap hobby by any means. But it doesn't take hundreds of thousands of dollars to build cars. This guy's putting $30,000 into this truck, and for $30,000, he's literally getting the whole truck fucking disassembled. The frame's going out, being disassembled, sandblasted, painted. LS1 is going in completely rebuilt. LS, rebuilt transmission, posi rear end, painless wiring harness, new fuel pump, new gas tank. There's the new rad support for it, all brand new sheet metal. There's the rad support, new doors, new fenders. So this is an interesting project. This one, the Camaro is just a redo, okay? So I've never been a fan of these body styles. I'm nothing against them. They don't do anything for me, but this is just a complete redo. And the reason this is a redo is just lack of care on the owner's hands. I stripped this car down. Is that fast, the Camaro? Oh, the Camaro will be fast, 100%. 100% it will be. 480 horsepower at the wheels, if you can hook it up. But like, this is just a body job. This is just a body job. And the only reason we're doing it is because basically when you get this, this is very important, guys. Do not let your car sit outside under a fucking tree. Sap from the tree, bird shit, the leaves, acid rain. There was little spots where it would actually eat through the paint and start micro rust blistering underneath. And literally because of it, the whole top of this car was completely fucked. So it had to be stripped. From 5 years ago, when he just had the car done 5 years ago, now he has to pay to get it re-fucking done again. All because of neglect. I've seen that on a truck. It's crazy, right? If you look at it, all the parts, guys, all the parts that were taken care of are fine. So let's just go and show you. So 5-year-old paint. There's a trim piece. Not exposed to the elements. Completely fine. Mirrors. Let's go look at mirrors. Here. Completely fine. Everything that was stored in boxes, the fender flare, completely fine. Just needs to be cleaned and polished. Nothing's wrong with these parts because they weren't exposed to the trees and the elements, and I didn't understand what happened. That's fucked the difference. Facts, right? It's completely fucked. If you guys seen the surface of this car before, it was literally just the top side of this car that was completely blistered. Hold on, I might need to help push. We got a fucking snowstorm out here, so give me a second, guys. You want a hand? Did you need a hand? Sure. Yeah, no shit, eh? Point where I have the cameras rigged up as kind of a live feed, and I would like to do YouTube videos of the build processes. Painting, have a GoPro on the painting camera so you guys can actually see the process. Good afternoon.
It's still morning here, but afternoon to you.
Part of the process. This is my project for today. Basically, like I said, all I'm trying to do is do a rough shape. I'll get all the shapes basically in there, dialed in as close as I can. 80, then I'll jump up to 120. Build the muscles, facts. Alright, and you cut it with 80 grit. Get your shape with 80. Jump up to 120. Then from 120, go to 180. The higher the grit, the less the sanding scratches and the less chances of shrinkage. What tends to happen if you leave your body work in too low, you'll leave these, guys. I don't know if you can see them. Let me see if I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So see these little lines? These sanding scratches. So some people, when you see them build cars, and if they don't finish their body work high enough, when you go to prime this, it'll cover, but as the solvents evaporate from the primer, it'll actually start to pull itself and tighten up, and it'll actually shrink into these little lines. So if you ever seen a car and you look at it from the side and you're like, what are those little lines I see? That's sanding scratches from the prep work underneath not being done fine enough, just not taking the time and taking it to the highest possible grit. So I know I'm going for high build primer, and I'm going 3 good coats. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up taking this work to 180, possibly 240 around here, and then we'll hammer it. We'll hammer it with a good coat of three coats of either urethane or polyester spray filler. Yes, 180 grit sandpaper, 100% on the block. Don't use a machine, guys. You know, when you're straightening out bodywork, you'll see a lot of collision shops. They use this. Okay, this is a 6-inch orbital sander. In body shops, collision shops, this is kind of the norm. But let me ask you something. If you're working on a straight panel like this and you have body work, how the hell are you going to make it straight with something circle that does this? How are you going to make it straight? It's not physically possible. So in the collision shop, this is the norm. In restoration, this is the norm. A lot of body work gets done by hand. The longer the block, the better the work. This is why you'll see me with multiple blocks, little guys and big guys. So if I'm going down the side of this door, let me show you here. If I got to body work the whole side of this door, what would you guys use? Would you want to use this little thing? Or are you going to want to use that one? Like, big difference, eh? The longer the board, the straighter the work. This little guy, if you're sanding here, just like this, you'll create little valleys. If I grab this block, I level it. From time to time, eh? From time to time. But that's big thing, guys. Always remember. I'm trying to make it look like I work. That's right. That's right. You guys know what it is. Some of the biggest tools we'll work with, especially in auto body, guys, and is sanding blocks. Most important tool is what we use. I'll show you some of those cool tools that I've got here. So let me show you something. Let's put that here for now. So sanding blocks come in various sizes, shapes. So let me show you the different blocks here. With these older cars, I actually use a lot of foam blocks, believe it or not. So this is a cool block. This is off of an airboard. Let me show you what an airboard is. So this is an airboard. This is an airboard. Plug it in. This is good for doing very rough cuts. Very rough cuts. But I actually like taking the bottom of these boards and using them to block sand bodywork. The reason I like it, no muscles required. No. Oh, it still does. It vibrates a lot. So the reason I like these is because I can contour it, but it's still let go. It keeps its shape. It's got an aluminum spine. So in cases like the roof, if you look at the roof on the Camaro, the roof's got a shape to it. If I look at that, it contours to the shape of the roof. That's why I like that block. Blocks are some of the most important tools for a body man. So this is probably one of my favorite blocks. I work that a lot. I've got a different set of blocks, guys. So just let me show you some of the different tools that we use. Another sanding block, kind of an interesting shape. This is great for getting in certain areas. Let me show you. So areas like this, wheel arch. A flat block really won't do that. Or this one will kind of fit in that curve. It fits the radius. So that's a nice block for doing stuff like that. This also can be used in that same application. This one, I use a lot in wheel arches because what I can do is I can just form it perfectly and it'll just run the radius just like that. See? It'll just follow the contour, guys. So always, tools are very important. Make sure you're using the proper tools in the proper applications. So some of my favorite tools. These blocks are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So two very similar blocks. One's round. I barely ever use this block. The reason, it's rigid. It doesn't have enough flex. I like the curvature. I like to be able to take the curve of the panel I'm working. Hey Rosie, how are you? One of the most important tools, guys, is always your sanding blocks. Always. Make sure your stuff's clean. Nala, how are you? So that just, like I said, that's just a quick lowdown of my favorite tools, my blocks. I try to keep I have a ton of blocks. I never know what application I may need. Cars come in different shapes, different curves. So you have to always have a tool to get you through that job. I do not like finding myself caught without a tool that I need. It slows production down, slows me down, slows the shop down. So just something to keep in mind. But we're going to start wrapping up, guys. The date box is open. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. Don't be shy. Hop in the box. We'll do our best to answer anything you can. And like I said, Instagram, Simcoe County Customs. Facebook and Instagram are exactly the same. You can keep up to date with current projects and past projects. We got a lot of cool past projects on that app as well, on that site. Appreciate that, Hangman. I'll keep you guys up to date with what's going on. So there's, like I said, we're only filming on Tuesdays now, just so I can show you guys progress. I want to be able to do a recap of where we left off last week to where we picked up in a week from today. So every time you come to the show, you can see something new. Absolutely, Miles. Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Central Time. How long does it take? Appreciate that. Thank you. How long does a rebuild normally take? Depending on the severity of the rebuild. This job, a strip down, rebody and repaint is about 300 hours. Strip the car down, handle it back up, body work it, lock it, prime it, lock it, strip it, paint it, reassemble, about 300 hours. If you're talking about like a frame off restoration like this, if you're doing full interior, full gauges, and you're doing a reassemble, it's not unrealistic to think you'll probably have close to 1,000 hours in a job like this. And if you do the math, 1,000 hours, if you went off of a shop rate, say 1,000 hours times $65 an hour, what's your total? That's low end too. That's a low end shop rate. Somebody tell me what the damage is of 1,000 hours times $65 an hour. A lot more than that. Add another zero. 1,000 hours times $65 an hour. $65,000. And that's at $65 an hour. There is no shop that is currently operating at $65 an hour. If you think I'm crazy, if you look at big shops, they're charging, what is it, 118 now? 118 an hour. So if you were to look at a frame-off restoration, say a car like this, interior plus parts, yeah. So this job for a frame-off restoration, easily 1,000 hours. Do the damage on that. 1,000 hours times $118 an hour. What's your total there? $120,000. This is what these big shops charge. So know what you're getting into before you get into it. Be mindful, because $120,000 is fucking house money, guys. And I've seen that number in many shops happen and surpass it. Plus your parts, plus. So, you know, always trust your technician. You know, always ask them to be open, you know, show them references. You want to see these references. I want to speak to you some references. Like, if you're spending, hypothetically, if you're spending $118 an hour and you're doing a frame off restoration, prepare yourself for that 100K mark, because that's what it costs to do this stuff. I'm not being unrealistic. A good example is my partner Josh and his family. His father had a car restored when he was younger. And I think, if I may ask, I'll see if she's comfortable telling me, what did your old man have into his Chevelle at a big shop to get done? 20 years ago too, right?
I think it was like 85.
85K, yeah. 20 years ago, yeah. Right? Yeah. And was the car done?
No.
What was left?
The car was completely, like, the car needed a complete, like, it got everything.
Okay, so when your dad got the car back, what was still left to do?
Nothing.
The car was
bought it and drove it.
When he picked it up?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so there you go. There's $85,000 into.
So that's keeping the car completely numbers matching, original paint. There was.
But that was 20 years ago money.
Yeah.
So
now that requires you one thing.
Yeah. So there you go. Did you guys hear that? $85,000 their parents spent 20 years ago to restore a Chevelle to numbers matching original. So fast forward 20 years, the prices are a lot different. She was right, $120,000 to $130,000 in that car. Absolutely. So just like I said, we don't sugarcoat shit for you. We're not gonna hide stuff. This is what it takes to do it. I like to teach, and I like to show you guys the shit that you don't get to see. So I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I hope you enjoyed this second show back. It's growing. We're gonna grow together, guys. If you have comments or ideas, feel free, send us ideas. I'm open to it. We learn together and we grow together, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the second show, guys, and we'll see you next Thursday. For anybody who's tuning in tonight for the lounge, we'll see you at 9:15, guys. Be blessed.